Hey, welcome back, everybody, all of the listeners, because there's no viewers. It's not a viewing option. You've made it back
You could look at your screen.
for hours.
Watch
to
the
stare.
Arts and Crimes
The Arts
logo.
and Crimes logo.
Yeah, yeah. Watch
True.
the seconds tick by.
Yeah, that is like sad. And
There's somebody out there who does that, and they're gonna
You
be
just-
so called
yeah.
out.
I'm sorry.
They're
What about the puka shells?
I love watching the seconds tick by.
Stop telling me I can't be who I am.
Some guy wearing puka shells, just watching our logo. It is a pretty great logo. I designed it myself.
It definitely wasn't me.
Yeah,
No.
it sure wasn't him.
Anyways, this is Arts and Crimes. I'm probably gonna have to do that again, or maybe I'll keep the crazy one in.
Maybe.
Anyways, I'm your host Kelly.
I'm Brandon.
And I'm Josh.
The Spurs.
The Spurs. All right. Great.
Okay, so we're here. It's morning, and we're on part 2 of Japanese tattoos. Guess what? The Ashwini warning continues. This is going to be a 3-parter. Sorry.
Oh no.
Sorry about that.
What I've realized is that every part that this extends just is another couple weeks that I don't do anything on the Dark Crystal podcast.
You haven't done
It's
anything
not.
else.
There's not a deadline that's making me be motivated.
So you're just really hoping it continues
Just-
indefinitely. This is now a Japanese tattoo podcast.
Okay, well, here's maybe a continuance or a deadline for you.
Oh, okay.
So, after this, timing works out really good because we're going to finish the next episode is going to finish up this Japanese tattoo series.
Maybe.
No, it definitely will. Because I'm going to be gone for most of October. And instead of trying to cram in extra recordings and release them while I'm gone, we're just going to take a little bit of a break and not record anything in the month of October. So I want to warn everybody, including my co-host that I just now told, because I'm going to be out of the country for like 3 weeks. So here's my idea.
Okay, let's hear your idea, and then we'll hear my idea.
I have an idea too. Let's see whose idea is best.
Yeah, we'll see what we go with. My idea was we finish this off, and then that'll bring us into October. And it's the end of the quarter, or the end of the semester. No, I was right the first time. It's the end of the quarter.
You can just say term, and then you don't have to worry about whether it's quarters or semesters.
Thank you. It's the end of the term.
Life hack.
Or trimesters.
Yeah, it's the end of the term for school. So not only am I finalizing grades, but I have to get like 3 weeks worth of sub plans ready, and that takes a hot second. It is quite a bit of work. Then I'm going to be gone, obviously, so I'm not going to have time to do any kind of research or anything. So what I would really like to have happen is between now and the time that I get back, I would love for listeners to submit questions so that when I get back, we can just do listener questions, answers, and then I can talk about where I was for a month, if people are interested.
That sounds fun.
And then that way it's like a nice chill pod when I get back, and then we can get back into the groove, but we're not leaving you hanging with like part 3 in a month and a half. So that's my idea. Let's see what your guys' ideas are.
Okay, so we could do your idea, but while you're off in Korea, Josh and I sneak in here and we record our own podcast episode.
I actually kind of like that idea.
And it'll be great because we don't. I don't know if you have any experience, but I have no experience in publishing an episode, so who knows what will actually come out of the effort. But
Also, I was like, how hackable am I?
Yeah, we don't have rights.
Because you'd have to hack into my computer, and then you'd have to hack into all of my login stuff. But I feel like once you get into my computer, you're probably good. It's all remembered.
Josh is in cybersecurity. We got
I
this.
can do it.
Probably just unplug it and plug it back in.
Yeah.
Now you're in cybersecurity.
Cut that out of the podcast. We can't reveal the secrets. Okay, my idea was not as good as either of you. My idea was you prepare for the last one, Brandon prepares for the Dark Crystal, and I prepare for the one about stealing video games, and we record 3 podcasts back to back to back on the last Saturday,
Oh my goodness.
with each of us hosting a different one.
So we just don't have a Saturday.
Yeah, that's all this
so we
is.
said, I think it would take roughly 8 hours.
Yep.
What do you think, guys?
I think you summed it up when you said your idea wasn't as good as ours.
All right, sounds like a plan. I vote Kelly's plan. All in favor?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. Brendan's like, just more time for the Dark Crystal. Also, I made my students watch the Dark Crystal this week.
Oh.
It was... Oh, I guess we'll lead into the week checks with this.
Okay.
This week, my students were working on stuff, and I have a few, not a lot. I have like 150 Ceramics 1 kids, and like 12 of them were done early on this project we're working on. And I didn't want them just sitting around. And so I was like, okay, I'll give some time for those kids the kids that aren't done, the other, 139. But I'll give an extra credit opportunity. So we're going to watch The Dark Crystal, and then they can write to me a commentary on the art, because it's all 3D created. It's the entire universe, It's such a fantastic examination of 3D creation. It creates the universe, the animals, like what kind of dishware they're using, the jewelry, the art in their different areas, like everything, So, we watched it, and I explained to them beforehand that it's a 1982 kind of Muppet fever dream. So just be ready for that. And it was interesting listening to their commentary while we're watching, because they're like, what is happening? What is that? Why is that? Like, all the time.
Had any of them seen it before?
There was like 4 kids that had seen it.
That's probably higher than I expected.
Yeah, and it was like each class, there was like 4 kids that had seen it. And I have like 40 in a class.
So you have 10% good parents.
And so it was really funny, because those kids that had watched it were like very into like defending and explaining it if people would listen. But it was kind of, so I had one class where like nobody had really seen it. It was a low quantity of people that had seen it in that one. And this table of boys was watching it, and they get to the part where Agra gets on scene, and she shows up, and they're like, what is happening? Like, who is she?
Is she the big like witch lady?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's always like,
With the astronomy thing.
end of the world. Oh, the beginning? Like that kind of stuff. And then anyway, so she's like doing all her stuff, and then the Gartham show up, and they take her, and these boys were like, no, they killed her. How can they kill her? And they were so upset. And I'm like, grading things and just like smiling. So then later, the Gartham show up at the castle, and the Skeksis are like, release the Gelfling. And they empty the bag, and Agra comes out, and the boys are all, she's alive! I'm like so excited. That was my favorite. But I was reading some of the commentaries, and a frequent thing, like they noticed some things that I thought were kind of fun. But a common thing they said was like, I don't really understand what's going on. I don't know why any of this is happening. Like they're just really confused. And I felt sad.
So, I know you don't advertise your pod to your class actively. So, if you listen to this pod, you need to tell the rest of the kids to listen. Because we're going to be talking about the Dark Crystal. And
it'll all get explained.
Yeah, if they listen to the Dark Crystal episode, I think they're going to understand what's happening and why it's happening a lot more. Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's an old movie, and you need to be able to appreciate an old movie and what they were working with.
Yeah.
But I think
it's crazy creative.
Yeah, it's super underrated.
Yeah.
I have 2 comments.
Okay.
One is, on a completely unrelated note, it would be fun to do a podcast about LSD.
That's not unrelated.
That was a joke. We should think about that. I'm going to add that to the podcast because I genuinely think like there's a lot of funny stories about creativity and LSD. Anyway,
we can't promote drugs as a way to be more creative.
that's not what we're doing.
That's an interpretation of what you just said.
All right. Well, we'll take it from a very critical point of view.
Okay. Every 10 minutes we say don't do drugs.
We have to, mandatory.
We will all wear Dare shirts during the recording.
Yeah.
Viewers, you can't see it, but we're wearing Dare shirts.
We're definitely wearing Dare shirts. They're also like, what's Dare? Kids don't know what Dare is anymore.
Drug abuse resistance education.
Yeah, but they don't do that anymore.
It still happens at the elementary that my wife teaches at.
Oh, well.
They have a Dare officer and they come and do all that stuff.
Aww.
I heard a study that basically Dare had the opposite effect because all these officers were like, listen, drugs will make you crazy. And you think you're having a super fun time. And then kids would perk up and be like, super fun time, you say? And they're like, don't ever go into back alleys where you can buy drugs for... And they're like,
at a low price.
Yeah. What back alleys are you speaking of? Anyway.
How was your week, Brandon?
Oh, I'm next? I thought Josh was going to be next.
No, you go ahead.
All right. So I don't have a planned, prepared week update.
I didn't either, Brandon. It's okay. Yeah. Just go with it organically.
So just, my last couple weeks have been kind of just sort of going with the flow or whatever. We've got a lot going on at work right now. We're changing computer systems. Yeah, so that's a big project, right? Trying to make sure that people are still getting the care that they need while we're making this conversion over. So that's actually like finalized this weekend. So we're gonna see what things look like on Monday. And then Helldivers had a pretty substantial update this last bit.
Oh, we need to play some.
Yeah, you are going to lose your mind.
You guys play all the time.
We were literally talking about this last night.
Yeah, we were just like, they countered your entire build.
What?
Yeah.
There's cave environments, and while you're in there, you can't call down stratagems, so you're all turrets all the time.
It's a problem.
You're just gonna stand outside the cave. You're doing great, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Just point them into the cave.
I'll protect the front of the cave here.
But the problem is, outside of the caves, there's flying dragon roaches that puke like acid fire vomit at you. So
yeah, just
Nothing
wait till you
just
wait till you see a Hive Lord.
I haven't even seen a Hive Lord.
The Hive Lords are both amazing and annoying at the same time, because they're like a gigantic centipede thing that comes up out. Yeah. It was a sandworm.
Mm-hmm. The new Warbond I was looking at, I was like, it's very Dune. Like, very Dune coded.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it's got Dune influences.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But the Hive Lord, it's not just... I mean, if they stole it from Dune, they stole it from Dune like 10 years ago, because this thing existed
I don't know if you know this, but Dune's been around longer than 10 years.
I know. I'm just saying it's not...
A recent theft.
Yeah. They didn't just say, Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah, I was going to say, so what you're saying is they thought Dune was cool before the movies.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
there you go.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Which makes me like them more.
Yeah. But, back then it was this worm thing that would pop out of the ground and you'd shoot stuff at it and then it would go back in. You could see it burrowing around or whatever. Mm-hmm. And because this is top down, but now it's all... third person, like you're down there, and so this gigantic worm thing is just like way up in the air and very crazy impressive, but it's like an annoyance because it's got so much health you can't kill it. Like, it's like you gotta throw apparently like 15 health bombs at it. You are ruining everything.
beg to differ.
I don't know what I've said that will make it into the pod currently about my week check-in.
The computer
but
thing probably will.
There's an update in Helldivers.
That's great.
Dune themed. My gosh. I'm sorry, Kelly. I don't know what you're going to do.
I don't either.
Anyway, it's pretty fun. Though it's interesting how different life is in the real world versus Reddit. Because on Reddit, the update is a disaster.
Really?
Yeah, like there's so much complaining.
Really?
Oh yeah, like it's destroyed the game. The game's unplayable. They're talking about review bombing Arrowhead again.
Oh.
They did nerf the most valuable thing in the whole game.
Turrets.
I was gonna say Josh.
That's been an interesting thing. I don't know. There's like some kind of social experiment there because the game is amazing. Like when it came out, it was this unexpected hit, and like legitimately, I think I've spent between $60 and $70 on this game with the initial purchase and then super credits, and I have over 500 hours in this game. Like that's such a great value.
Yeah.
But yeah, Reddit. If I didn't go on Reddit, I would think it's a little buggy, but such a fun update. And being on Reddit and seeing other people talk about it, like, oh my gosh, you would think that the game hardly works, and that Arrowhead is just an incompetent developer, and it's time to do the third review bombing.
Jeez.
Because they have review bombed this game two other times. And
one was requiring PlayStation ID outside of PlayStation.
There was that.
Which wasn't in Arrowhead's control anyway.
Right. Yeah.
They got what they wanted out of it, so.
Yeah, they did. And I mean, they're going to continue. It seems like review bombing is effective, right? They've gotten responses from doing it.
I mean, just ask Sonic.
But it also, I don't know, it's a little bit sad. Like, I don't know. I really like the game. I love the game. And if Arrowhead was like, we've supported this for a year and a half now, and we're ready to stop and move on, like I would be really sad. But I was just like, you guys did amazing. Thank you for 500 plus hours of enjoyment.
Yeah.
But the community would be pissed. Probably review bomb them for like not supporting the game anymore or something. And so when somebody looks on Metacritic or whatever and it's got a 4 out of 10 or a 40% or whatever, that sucks. Like they did a great job, but if it's not continuingly perfect or living up, what it will say in the end is it was a crappy game. And that sort of sucks, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially because it's so different from a lot of other games because it is so live and responsive to the people playing. So it's not it's not an experience that you get often from video games.
Yeah. I don't know. I hope people out there understand that we're getting something really special with Helldivers. It's a live service game. It gives you that constant change and updates, but in the healthiest way I've ever seen.
Yeah.
A live service game being handled.
Better than Destiny?
Yes. I think better than Destiny. And I spent like over 2,000 hours in Destiny over the course of the last 10 years or whatever. I feel like Arrowhead respects the player's time more than Bungie does.
I like that.
Yeah, the internet is terrible.
It's true.
So, I have some insight into this.
Okay.
Some thoughts about it, right? Because you can say a lot of stuff, but it's not often you have like hands-on experience, right? But I worked for a theater chain, and one of the things that we did was we redesigned the website. What was hilarious is that I'm not a designer, and I was tasked with making the design. So I did some studies and whatever, figured out the best way to redesign some stuff. This was years and years ago. And we used a tool called, I'm not going to say the tool name, but basically the tool would collect statistics about how people use the website, right? So it would be like, oh, here's where they go, here's how often they click, here's how often they go through and complete their checkout, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so those metrics of how they're doing in the flow of purchasing tickets and looking at movies, those tell us how much people actually enjoy it, right? Or how much they're actually using it, which is the better indicator of like, oh, people like it enough to come back and use it again, and there's competitors out there that they could go to, so we must be doing something right. That's kind of the basis of it.
Sure. Okay.
After our redesign, all of the engagement metrics, all the things saying, oh yeah, people are using it, people are doing well with it, blah, 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 all that went up. And it looked like it was a huge success. But we also had a feedback form, and almost all the feedback was entirely negative. And not like, hey, there's some stuff you could improve. It was like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen, and whoever's in charge of your website should go kill themselves. Like, it was not reason at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's just how the internet is. Like, nobody hops on the internet to be like, hey, good job.
Yeah.
Your new website looks great. You guys, you should be proud of yourself. No one takes the time to do that. They just go, oh, this is nice, and they use it and they're done.
Sure.
If they don't like it, and then they want to complain about it, right? Video games, it's the same thing. Like, no matter how good the game is, and like Helldivers is massively popular. I think it's the most played Xbox game right now, right?
It just recently, was released on Xbox.
Yeah. So like all the metrics would indicate that it's very successful and people like it. But if you look at online sentiment, they're like, it's the worst game ever. And it's like, well, only the people online are going online and spending time because they want to complain and, be validated. And I'm sure there's people defending it in the thing, but like the number of just like happy players who aren't worrying about going online vastly outnumbers everything else.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyway.
You should write a letter to them and send it in the mail. Be like, you guys are doing good, smiley face, and then send it. Yeah.
So should we just change the theme of this episode to be Helldivers and the crime of review bombing and then just be done?
Be done. Yeah, we're wrapping it up. It's already been 57 minutes. This is our longest. This is going to take me 4 hours to get through.
Yeah.
It's always the beginning that takes me the longest to get through because it's so hard to...
Did Josh have a week check-in yet?
Not yet.
Yeah.
You guys excited for this?
So
I had a blog post because there's two problems. The one is that it's really hard for entry-level cybersecurity people to get experience, and you need experience to get a job in cybersecurity. And the other is that small businesses, there's no recourse for them. There's no help for small businesses in terms of cybersecurity. There aren't like dedicated resources. There are things you can do, like if someone goes out and looks for stuff, they can find some, but there's no like business or company or cybersecurity organization that's just focused on like, we're going to help small businesses. Mm-hmm. So I was like, these two groups should help each other. So people that are learning cybersecurity should go to small businesses of people that they know and should be like, hey, let me teach you how to use backup and MFA and all this stuff. So that was my whole blog post. I called it Guerrilla GRC for reasons I'm not going to get into. But I guess you can find my blog and then find it if you're a real good Googler.
What's your blog address again?
I'm not going to say it. You got to Google it.
Google? What would we Google?
blogamazing.com. No.
People are the blogamazing.com is gonna have a spike of activity.
There's 40 people more on here.
That's made the difference.
It is porn for sure. Hold on. I need to Google. I need to look up blogamazing.com.
Okay.
Anyway, so I wrote that blog post. I did a presentation about it at a cybersecurity conference, which was fairly well reviewed. I've spoken at several conferences, and I always really enjoy it, but I'm always looking for a subject. And I was like, this is something that I think is beneficial for entry-level people. So then I was like, I'll write a novel, a business novel about it, and have the things interwoven into stories. So that's what I started this week. I'm very excited.
Yeah, I like it.
The end.
Beautiful. Perfect. Well, what a great end so that we can get started.
It doesn't bring up anything.
We could buy it. Oh, dang it. Somebody owns it.
All right.
So,
well, that was a nice short week check-in.
Yeah, we got there. We got through real quick, and now it's to the point. So, if we remember last time, we were just getting into the Edo period and this time frame where we start seeing kind of punishment actually being started to use as a form of tattoo starting to be used as a form of punishment. They were tattooing people's faces.
Yeah, to make them think they took care of pigs or whatever, right?
Yeah, to associate them with the, like, quote unquote lower class citizens.
Yeah.
And to differentiate from the other, like, tribes that were sort of on the fringes of Japanese culture. So it helped kind of distinguish the difference between, like, the Ainu tribes and that kind of stuff. So, with the change by the fourth Tokugawa shogun, the punishment was changed from branding to having that tattoos applied. But again, we see that those tattoos still had multiple resurgences and usages and resurfacing in different forms, like the, shows of love and affection and like the little mole thing and that kind of stuff. But over time, these types of tattoos continued to grow and continued to gain in their complexity. And it started to be really commonplace for, like, gamblers, villains, and ruffians, as it was listed, to have tattoos. And it's funny because it sort of takes, like, a journey in the type of tattoos that were more commonly seen. So for a while, it was common for guys like that to have large print blocky letters with, like, words or sayings on them. And I assume it's just large print is how you would say it for kanji as well, because it's, like, super thick, like bold style font, but in kanji. And there was a famous, in the book it said hooligan, which I loved, but there was a famous hooligan that had a large blocky print written across his back that said, "Until death do take me." And he was
hardcore.
like, yeah, pretty well known for it. And then you started seeing that people would say, like, really straightforward things or really grotesque things or things to, like, get a reaction from people. So there was one, like, in a book, there was drawn, this guy had down his arm, he had in big block letters, "Urinating in this place forbidden."
Sometimes I wonder if Google is listening in on my life in ways I can't possibly understand, because we had this tattoo podcast, and now YouTube is showing me the clips of this lady who's going through and reading Chinese tattoos that Americans and stuff have gotten
that are wrong.
That are wrong. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, why did this start showing up?
Now you know.
I don't remember Googling tattoo stuff.
Well, if you want to get real sassy, you can get
somehow
a Japanese tattoo that says "Urinating in this place forbidden."
Forbidden.
So we start seeing that there are groups that are more commonly getting tattoos. And one of them was... it's all going to make sense. Just follow me on this.
Okay.
So one of them was sumo wrestlers. Mm-hmm. I want to clarify that this was before sumo wrestling was a profession. So they were, like, pre-sumo wrestlers, but they were doing sumo. Because currently the profession of sumo wrestling, it says that you cannot have any visible tattoos. It's explicitly banned and is against the move that Japan had to kind of clean up the sport. And so...
that's current rules today.
Current rules, they cannot. This ban actually was enacted in 2019. And so it also includes no beards and they can't have long fingernails. So
The long fingernails makes a lot of sense.
yeah.
The
yeah.
beards does not make sense.
I mean, maybe it's, I think, like,
Too
they really.
scratchy.
Yeah, it just scratches them. They get in their thing and they're like, just rubbing their beard on the other
He's like,
guy's
"No!"
shoulder.
But at the time, this was like, again, so at this time, the sumo wrestlers, or they were called rikishi, it wasn't a profession yet. And so the name actually was called Yori Sumo, which was come together sumo, which I don't know, whatever, but that's what the group activity was called. Maybe like instead of calling it basketball, it was like pickup basketball, you know?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Anyways, many of the men that participated in these types of bouts were also part of an emerging group called Otokodate, which I had not heard of before, and I already love them.
How do you say that in French, Brandon?
Otokitaki.
Okay.
No, that's
You can't tell me that was a bad French accent.
Otokodate, and these were like Robin Hood style street nights or kyokyaki. Anyways, I'm gonna say it wrong.
I have a friend who speaks Japanese, and I'm going to invite him to the next one. And
Yeah, I'd be like, please help us.
Could you
I'm
just-
struggling.
No, don't help us. Just make fun of Kelly.
That's fine. Yeah, I deserve it. Anyways, so they were these Robin Hood style like street nights or gentleman gamblers, as they were called.
These guys are real Caravaggios. These guys.
Okay. Anyways,
Excellent repartee, Brandon.
Listen, I'm tired of feeling stupid. Use the right one.
He's a good one. Now just take that and mix up all the words so Brandon sounds so incomprehensible. I'm tired of being stupid.
anyways, so it was a group made up primarily of second and third sons of samurai families that wouldn't inherit, bannermen and with low stipends, or sons of well-to-do but lower class merchants. And what they would do is, I kind of loved this, is they would make it look like they made a living off of gambling, but they weren't really making their living off of gambling, and they would go and like help people, and they were sort of the buffer between the samurai class and the like normal regular citizens.
Hold on. So these people, the
Oh,
children
Tokodate.
of wealthy merchants, would spend their days pretending to be playboys and wealthy people.
Batman.
Yeah.
Yes. And they had a motto I absolutely loved.
Was their motto, I'm Batman.
It was. Yeah. It was break the strong and help the weak.
Oh.
Which I was like, that's fantastic. So the real issue, like this is why they sort of became needed, or why they felt they were needed, was during this Edo period, it was a peaceful period. And so as time proceeded, people started to resent the samurai because they were seen as having no responsibilities. Samurai didn't have to pay taxes, and they were a protected class. So they could kind of go and do whatever they wanted, and you couldn't persecute them. And so the Otokodate served as this buffer between the two, the average citizen and the samurai.
So hold on. So you're saying that the samurai, who were originally heroes, right? They lived long enough to see themselves become the villains?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's not really talked about, though. It's like
No. Which is, thought it was super interesting because I'd never heard of these like Otokodate, but they're apparently like really well known. They're like the Japanese Robin Hoods.
I think it's just interesting that the samurai, like what they're known for or whatever, like it didn't get tarnished by this villainous period.
Which
So it gives me hope that puka shells might come back.
there's still hope. And I think part of that,
you were gonna, like, I was thinking as a parent, I was like, oh, maybe my children will love me again.
well, I just thought, like, you know, it is interesting because the samurai that were doing this were clearly not living by the ideals that a samurai was supposed to be living by. And so my guess is they were sort of not what was representative of the samurai class. And so, maybe it didn't tarnish the samurai because the samurai that were fulfilling those needs were not associating with these kind of,
Well, maybe Tom
ruffian
Cruise showed
samurai.
up and helped them really understand what it means to be a
The true
samurai.
meaning of Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he does that.
he's all about that.
Yeah. Anyways, so these otokodate tried to do good deeds, but they also tended to be prone to violence. So
Really break the strong? that didn't indicate
yeah, their
proclivities.
mannerisms. Yeah.
Did they have a code that prevented them from killing?
No.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah. Sorry, they're not
one
Batman.
difference.
They also liked to have shows of strength, hence these like sumo matches. But in that same sort of mindset, they liked to have tattoos all over themselves because they really enjoyed the shock that they got when they revealed all of these tattoos, because people would be shocked by them. Especially because they were these like large, elaborate tattoos. And the otokodate were popular in the media and often portrayed in kabuki dramas. And there was...
What is the media? Like, what year is
This is like the early or the late 1600s, early 1700s. So like kabuki theater,
Okay.
ukiyo-e prints and paintings,
Okay.
that kind of stuff. Or in like literature. That's what I meant by media.
Interesting.
And they had like dramas about them, and they featured in a lot of ukiyo-e prints. And there's a really famous ukiyo-e print by Kuniyoshi, who is the guy that did the print in my living room.
Oh.
So I don't have that print, but it's the same artist. Mine is of the Witch Takayashi and the Skeleton Spectre.
Very nice.
But we talked about that last time. Anyways, but it is like this samurai style guy, because he had swords, but he has like half of his arm is showing, and he has tattoos all over it, and he's wearing a kimono that has like skulls and grass in it, because the idea of these otokodate is that they would help even the most worn down and broken down person, so much so that they would pick grass out of a like old skull to serve that skull to help them. And so so they were featured really heavily, and they would get these large scale tattoos, and a lot of them would have like the names of female prostitutes or serving girls or like other themes, but still in that kind of like earlier vein of like lovers and that kind of stuff. But with these guys, they would go all the way down one arm, and then when that arm was filled, they'd go all the way down the other arm. And then if they wanted to continue getting tattoos after both arms were full, they would go like down their chest or even into their stomach with these elaborate tattoos.
Just like Travis Barker.
Okay. So around the 1720 time, and this is all, so in the Edo period, there's like, in the Edo time frame, there's also periods within it. So this is kind of all Edo. Edo is like 1603 into later, like 18 something, I think. Anyways, so in 1720, this is when the Edo period first officially adds tattooing as a punishment to be administered for crimes. And in that same year, on May 11th, a man called Hirabe of Nagasaki town was tattooed for, among other things, stealing the metal from around the footing of an Edo bridge.
That's funny.
And so he got tattooed for that. And then the first...
Also, is it from Nagasaki town?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Like, there's a town called Nagasaki.
Yep, but for some reason back in 1720 it was called
They were like,
Nagasaki
good
town.
old Nagasaki town.
And then the first woman to receive a punishment being tattooed that same year was in November. And she was the mother of a man named Yoshi Hiyoi, and she was simply known as Mama Goro. And I loved that.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's a fantastic name.
It's giving Mortal Kombat.
A little
Yeah.
bit. And she stole clothes from a shop and was tattooed and imprisoned for it.
So hold on. To summarize,
Yeah.
the ruling power had their samurais,
Yes.
and then people rose up because the samurais were abusing their power, and so then the ruling power was like, we're going to use tattoos as a signal of crime. We're going to punish people with tattoos.
So it's a lot more like interchange, like all kind of simultaneous a little bit,
Okay.
because the ruling power saw people with tattoos as lesser.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't necessarily criminals, but it was like the working class or these like what they would call quote unquote barbarian tribes that participated in this. And so the Japanese government wanted to have this separation and distinction. And so first you were like losing your caste or being like lowered if you received tattoos. And then like the working class sort of started taking pride in these tattoos and like including them in their elaborate displays of power and that kind of stuff. And so they started putting bans on tattoos and then started using them as forms of punishment to further associate them with like lower class or unwanted or undesirable people. And so a really easy group to target for that is criminals.
Yeah.
So I think it's all
Interesting.
sort of happening like, you know,
Yeah.
like simultaneously, all of these things are happening kind of. So, and there's a few, I kind of tried to organize this as best as I could, but a lot of it, because it is so simultaneous, I'll talk about like a group that's happening, and that happens over like this Otokodate group. Like all of this was happening over quite a bit of time. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk about a couple more groups. And I'm also going to tell you guys some of the typical types of tattoos that were done for punishment. And again, all of this timeline sort of crosses over quite a bit. Does that make sense? Okay. So after this ban of tattoos after they officially made tattooing a form of punishment, there was a wide variety of tattoos used, and they slightly changed over time, but they also highly depended on the location that the crime had taken place. So they would often use symbols like lines or bars, a plus sign, an X, a circle, squares, triangles. The kanji for wheat and the kanji for dog were used. So like in Edo, and this I think is probably some of the most famous visual ones, is the Edo ones. In Edo, they had two black bands that they would apply just above the elbow. And then if another crime was done, they would apply a third band. And it was all above the elbow. In Niigata, it was like a thick eye shape where the top bar of the eye was a little bit shorter than the bottom bar of the eye, and that was placed 12 centimeters above the elbow. Also, in the book I was reading, it had descriptions of all of these marks just incredibly specifically. So it was like the bars had to be this wide and separated by this much space and had to be this far above the elbows. Like they were really specific. So I'm just giving you the basic of what it looked like, but they had like real strict techniques and specifics for applying these tattoos.
Because they didn't want somebody to just tattoo themselves to get street cred.
Yeah, or something. I don't know. Or it could be because some of them are fairly similar to other locations, so maybe it helped distinguish from other locations. Because commonly, not only was tattooing the crime, but often coupled with that, you would be banished from that location. And so if you came back and they saw those tattoos and they're like, those are Edo tattoos, you shouldn't be here, kind of thing.
I see.
In Kanto, they had the same bands as Edo's, as well as a band above the elbow that had sort of like an upside down L shape that came off of it. So it was above the elbow, it was a single bar, and it had like a hook that was kind of an L shape that came up off of it. And that was one specifically for them. In Kyoto, it had 2 thick parallel lines placed on the upper bicep. It was like the opposite direction of an equal sign. In Sunpu, they had the same as Kyoto, just lower on the bicep, so the like opposite equal sign. And then in Osaka, they had the same black bands around the arm, but they were as Edo, but they were placed above the elbow instead of below. And this, like, I could go on because I just kind of picked some bigger ones, and more common ones that we've seen in media. But, like, basically every town had its own version of what that tattoo looked like and its placement. And it was really common to either be on the left arm or they would put them on the forehead. And those were the really common kind of punishment locations.
I think you said Osaka and you mean Osaka town.
That's what I meant. So as we see the continuance of tattooing from people, so even though this was a thing, we still see the continuance of tattooing. And truthfully, the tattoos that these people were getting were nothing like the punishment tattoos. Like, the punishment tattoos were very specific, where other people were getting these like intricate kind of scenes and decorative things. So they weren't getting mistaken for people that had committed crimes. They just were frowned upon for having tattoos by the government, essentially. And like any kind of upper class people. But we saw this continuation of tattooing, like the people, like the otokodate, and that kind of stuff. And the tattoos, as time went on, became more elaborate. They told stories and had various themes that kind of emerged as they continued to develop. And other people would get them tattooed for other various reasons, but it was almost always an intimidation factor. So, like, collectors would have all manner of tattoo all over their body. And if they came to collect something and an argument ensued, they would reach into their kimono as if they're going to reach in for, I don't know, like a sword or a knife or I don't know what. But it would essentially, they would open up their kimono enough to show all these tattoos and the argument would end. And people would, like, give in because they're so intimidating.
The tattoos?
The tattoos were, yeah.
Interesting.
It's kind of like putting glasses on to seem smarter.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in a totally different...
It's the 100% opposite of that, though, yeah.
Yeah.
Which means it's similar.
Yeah. No, I'm not trying to... Listen, I was not calling you dumb. I was saying, yeah.
Look, I'm going to put some glasses on and we'll talk about this.
Yeah, it's the same kind of thing where you, like, have
it's some
this...
sort of a visual indicator that...
Like, don't
communicate something to the other person
about who that person is.
Yeah, exactly.
I forgive the tangent, but I had a friend who worked in a bank, and she had a coworker, and she kept a pair of glasses, of just clear glasses, there at her workstation. She didn't need prescriptions. But when she'd have a belligerent customer come in who was like, no, look, my account's wrong, blah, blah, blah. She would, like, after a point of arguing, she would say, okay. And she would take out the glasses and put them on and let me take another look. Mm-hmm. And then repeat the information back. And often the customer would be like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
and
so that's exactly what happened. Is they'd come in and they'd be like, "We want this stuff, and you're gonna give it to us." And the person would be argumentative, and he's like, "Well, look at these tattoos," and he's like, "Okay, here you go.
My kimono.
Let me take another look at it." Okay.
Exactly. So
now for my tangent. Cut out that whole tangent.
I'm just gonna go now for my tangent, and then I'm gonna go straight to cut out that whole tangent.
And it'll be such a mystery for people. Hopefully, one of our things will be what was the tangent. We gotta do it.
We can't tell you. I'm still hoping that somebody writes in and asks you what the crying story is from like 2 episodes ago, because you're gonna have to remember and tell them.
I don't remember at all. What was it?
I don't know. You said I'm not gonna tell you the crying story. Somebody will have to write in and ask.
Yeah.
Anyways, so there became like common themes of styles of tattoos that would arise to have this kind of intimidation factor. and one of them was called the Namakunoi, I think. Namakunoi, or severed head tattoo.
Oh boy.
So this is either the severed head of a man or a woman that was tattooed on the body. If it was a man, like if it was a man's head, then it usually was displayed with the forehead shaved like a samurai would, and then have its hair like loose and disheveled. And this was meant to represent a samurai that had been killed in battle. And there were sort of multiple meanings behind it. One, it showed how fierce you were and that you were willing to die for your beliefs. And the other was taking the head of a samurai in battle would grant certain amounts of merit. And then additionally displaying that head was a way to further add insult. And so altogether, the male Namakubi, anyways, the male severed head tattoo was declaring your bravery, fearlessness, and how prepared you were for violence. On the other hand, the severed female head was less understood, or at least less solid in its meaning. The first difference was how she was represented. She was often represented like clean and orderly and had her hair up in like a pretty geisha style. And there was one quote that said it meant even though she works as a courtesan, she still is utterly devoted until death to one man. It's also said it can be a presentation of passion for one's wife or lover, but again, it's not certain.
So a man would have a severed head tattoo of the woman he loves?
Yeah, potentially.
All right.
Which is not a romantic gesture I would be interested in.
I'm going to surprise Michaela with that one. I got my first tattoo. Look. It's her head with her tongue hanging out and blood draining from.
It's so great. Well, I mean, you'd have to change it a little bit because either way, with both depictions, there was almost always a document clenched in their teeth because the scroll that was in their teeth was a notice of revenge.
Or was it the first fan art for Demon Slayer? Nah.
It probably was. It's a notice of revenge. I like how formal that is.
Yeah.
That you could be like, hold on, you killed my brother? Let me prepare a notice of revenge.
Yeah, I mean, it's very official. So yeah. I thought that was like almost kind of cute. But there we go. There's also different types of tattoos that became commonplace, like good luck charms. So people would get good luck charms tattooed on. And these, I was like, these are the ones Brandon would hate because it's like one little thing randomly placed. So it'd be like a dice or like a little, they had these little like shrine tokens that had a word on them, those. Or for whatever reason, a really common one, especially among criminals, was a peach.
Was it? Oh, dang it. I was going to say a dreidel. Why?
No, peaches for some reason.
Because it's the butt.
Oh, I think you've cracked the code.
Nailed it.
I didn't know. Anyways, there was a book.
That's the other way to remember your beloved. You'd be like, I got her severed head up here.
And the peach on the tramp stamp.
Down here.
So there's in the book, All Manner of Tales from a Wise Monkey by Ude Akinaru.
The name of the book is All Manner of Tales
from a Wise Monkey.
Okay.
Is what it is, the title of the book. And
I'm
he's just quoted as saying he was tattooed with landscapes from famous prints of 8 views of Omi on his upper arm along with a picture of a Namakubi, so the severed head, on his back. So it's just sort of further proof that we're seeing these more elaborate tattoos and common tattoos and these themes of tattoos all over the place.
At this point, is it pretty much always needles?
Yeah. So it's described really well, actually, in the punishment documentation that now it is like a little bundle of needles. And sometimes they're saying like 10 needles bundled together. So they would paint the design on and then do needles over it and then rub paint again, ink again over where they've done it, and then clean it off, wipe it off. And then if it's not dark enough, they can reapply with the needles. But instead of razors, it's now needles.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So, but they're still not dipping the needle or something like that.
So sometimes they do apply the ink to the needle, but it was described in every text that I read that was the official like punishment procedure, that it was often that they would paint on the ink and then sometimes they would put some on the needles, but they would also rub the ink in after they did the poking.
Interesting.
Yeah. Good question. So anyways, the other thing about the tattoos, because they were getting much more elaborate and much more complex, they were getting more expensive as well. And it was still these like working class people that were known for getting them. And another group that was really, really well known, and I'm going to get to why they're really well known for it, but they were really well known for having these large, like whole body elaborate tattoos. They were known as Toby or steeplejacks originally. So they were like,
sound very Japanese.
yeah, they were like working on like roofs and stuff. Is it because Toby is a name?
Toby and Steeplejack.
Steeplejack.
Like,
Well, the steeplejack is the English.
You've got all of these Japanese names, and then they're known as the steeplejacks.
yeah.
That's the translation.
Ono Toby Gati, and then the Steeplejacks.
Why did you translate the other ones then?
I did.
Listen,
They don't translate.
Which one have I not
I
translated?
demand to know the Japanese word for steeplejack.
Toby.
Wait.
Toby?
That-
Toby is Steeplejack?
Yeah. What one
Steeplejack
have I-
McGuire.
What have I not translated?
Oh, I don't know. Like, what are those guys? The Robin Hoods?
Otodaki.
Otodaki.
What does that mean?
Batman.
Yeah, Batman.
Swear to me.
It was gentlemen gamblers.
Gentlemen Gamblers.
It translates to gentlemen gamblers?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
So it's Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
You already made that joke. Move
I know.
on.
I'm bringing it back, man. It's called a callback. It's one of the only uses around here. It's literally the only thing I do is, okay, remember the thing we said 5 minutes ago?
Yeah, sorry. Maybe
Just
this
like-
one, I try and translate them all, but maybe this one was harder because Toby.
No, it's because I didn't think
we
Toby
didn't
was
realize
Japanese.
Yeah.
Toby was a Japanese word.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, Toby.
Toby. Yeah, not Toby Maguire. Toby the word. It's because I struggled so hard with all the other words that you knew it was a Japanese word.
But you're like, finally, one that I can say with no problem. And then we're like,
And then they make one.
Hey, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Toby Steeplejack.
all right. So the steeplejacks.
So the steeplejacks. It was also they were quoted. There was a quote from one of them that said, "I will sell my wife and use the money for horimono or tattoo."
You know what? I'm beginning to think we shouldn't have spent an hour and a half talking about our weeks.
Okay, it was only an hour. Anyways, so sort of explains how these tattoos are getting more and more expensive, which keep that in mind when we talk about the Yakuza tattoos in the next episode.
Next episode.
Oh, a teaser.
Yeah, it comes into play again. So the steeplejacks also had another job that they were really commonly known for, probably more so, was firefighters. So the city of Edo, and in most cities at this time.
You mean Edo Town?
Edo. Well, this one was a big one. It was the big one. So,
Oh, sorry. Edo City.
Yeah. The city was largely made of just paper and wood. That is the construction of the buildings.
Yes, I've seen anime.
Yeah.
I know what they build
You know?
with.
Yeah. The historically accurate anime.
It makes a big part in Fruits Basket.
Yeah.
They're always throwing people through walls and stuff.
That's true. So firefighter was an important job because, you know, fires would happen really easily, really quickly, and it would just take out a huge portion of the town if nothing was done about it. So these steeplejacks were already used to getting like up on roofs and working on that kind of stuff. So they would, they became firefighters, and they would show up to where the fire was and break down all the buildings around where the fire was to stop it from spreading.
I love the idea of the fire. Like they come up with their big red thing, and then instead of a ladder, it's a wrecking ball. And they go, "Where's the fire? All right, everybody out of the houses around it. Crash, 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 crash."
And that's what they would do.
It's too late for that one. Let her burn.
Let it go.
We'll save these other houses by destroying them.
You're welcome. And like, I mean, it made sense because they didn't have access to fire trucks, but I also read that and I was like, that is wild. I would be so mad if my neighbor's house caught on fire.
That's a good point. My neighbor is always over there lighting matches.
Jeez.
They're gonna get my house destroyed by the firefighters.
And so these steeplejacks would show up to these fires, and they would be seen with all of their tattoos showing. And so it really kind of became synonymous that firefighters would have lots and lots of tattoos. And so to try and kind of regulate this a little bit, the government selected 4 samurai families to put in charge of firefighting to kind of, you know, make this as respectable and taken care of as possible, I guess. And so these 4 samurai families were the official like firefighting families. However, the Toby would still construct like civil servant volunteer firefighter organizations and still go to fires to put them out, quote unquote.
These are like vigilante
firefighters. Batman.
Yeah, Batman. Man, Japan invented Batman 3 times before he got invented over here.
Yeah. And then this tattooing and connection with firefighting, they couldn't get rid of that connection, even though the samurai definitely were not tattooed, because it was very against these like higher class, higher citizen things. So the samurais didn't have tattoos, but it still maintained to be connected. And a part of that reason was because the samurai, they would hire other commoners to do the actual firefighting dangerous work. So it was like the samurai would be sort of the in charge people, and they would find other people, hire them, and delegate to send them out to go actually fight the fire. And those people were known as Gaen, I think. It's Gaen, which that word means those who fell before the smoke. So not ominous at all.
Yeah.
And they were famous for showing up to these fires with only a loincloth and a short coat on. And so their entire bodies, more or less, would be revealed and covered in these tattoos. And even though they were full-time employed to go fight fires, they would supplement their income by going and selling good luck charms to prevent fires to the common folk. And these good luck charms were known as zenisashi. And they were essentially just a low denomination of coin that was threaded on like a hemp string cord and then tied off. And the firefighters who sold these were famously aggressive about selling them.
So it was like protection money more.
Yeah, because they would say, if you don't buy these, you might have an accident at your house and it might be a fire.
They also invented the mafia.
Yeah. So this is why it was so important to go over all this stuff, because I'm like, this all feels like it ties heavily into the Yakuza stuff later.
Yeah.
So, and another half of this would be that these Gaen firefighters would commonly get in fights with the Toby freelance firefighters. And so the groups would compete to get to like fires faster so that they could have the honor of putting the fire out. But when the second group showed up, a fight would break out to see who could like have the honor of having put out the fire.
Right, but the honor of destroying all the neighbors' houses.
Yeah.
So that the fire can burn itself
So the
out.
fire could go out, yeah.
Would they have the fight in the neighbors' houses, so at least they were kind of doing double duty?
Like cool
Yeah.
fight scenes? It didn't say.
Oh, darn it.
But you can imagine it that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was and that became another mainstream way that these large groups of people would be recognized with tattoos. And it was really common for the working class people to have a lot of tattoos. Additionally, it became popular in like the kabuki theater, and it was made famous. They say they are able to trace this back to this kabuki actor. Instead of using makeup, he had a role that the person was an otokodate, and so he just got a bunch of tattoos instead of using makeup, and the crowd apparently went wild and loved it. And so then any additional role he had after that, he would just get more tattoos for it, and the people just loved it. And so it became
You really put Daniel Day-Lewis to shame.
Yeah,
That's method acting right
that
there.
really is. And so it just kind of furthered the popularity of the tattoo. And at this point, so this is all the way up to like the early 1800s, tattoos were done primarily by like friends or lovers or like people that had access to the tools, but they were not professionals, and there was no kind of like regulation. So during this time, we start to see the emergence of what you would call professionals and tattooing as a set profession, which then, as a response to that, kind of, the government in 1812 set out this. They wanted to start regulating and banning tattoos. And so there's a little paragraph in this ban that they sent out that said, sorry, I forgot to breathe for a second. It said, of late, some careless people have been displaying what is known as horimono, carved designs or tattoos on their flesh. They are carving various and sundry designs as well as words and such all over the body. The application of ink or coloring to the cuts is the problem at hand of late. There have also been a great number of those that perform this sort of carving scene about hereafter. Let it be known that clearly carving tattoos, not only on the arms and legs, but also the rest of the body, is inappropriate.
So it sounds like they're back to cutting to make tattoos in this situation?
So I am unsure if that is a translation or if that is just the means of how they're saying it, because traditionally it was done with cutting, or if it is because some people use needles and some people used razors, because it was only just emerging as a profession, and so there was not a lot of regulation on it. So maybe some people only knew how to do the razor and some people only knew how to do the needles. So I think that there was probably a group that still was using the razor, but there was also the emergence and usage of needles.
I have a thought that's been in my brain. Can I get it out?
Yeah.
So it goes away.
No.
Yeah.
I want to see how long it stays in there before your head explodes.
Yeah.
So you were talking about there sort of being a competition to get to the fire quickest, right? And that just brought up, so as technology has gotten better for firefighters and their response times improved to being at the site of a fire in like 5 minutes or so from the start, it had the effect that it had was a huge increase in firefighter deaths because they were arriving before flashover, so they would be in the building when flashover happened. And so,
What's flashover?
So flashover is where some of the off gas from a fire is carbon monoxide, and carbon monoxide is an incompletely burned or combusted gas.
I can hear all that.
Okay, sorry. So carbon monoxide is incompletely combusted gas, right? Carbon dioxide is completely inert, right? So carbon monoxide burns at around 1500 or so degrees Fahrenheit, and so during a house fire, you'll build up this accumulation of carbon monoxide, and as the fire gets hotter and hotter, you get to the flash point of carbon monoxide, and this flashover happens, and
Where it ignites.
yeah, essentially the carbon monoxide explodes essentially, and that's flashover. So it was this new problem for firefighters because they had solved other problems.
That's funny.
Yeah, so they were getting to the fires in time to be in the building when flashover occurred.
When it was like more dangerous.
You know what they should have done?
Tear down the buildings around it.
Yeah, just knock down the other buildings. Then they don't have to worry about flashover.
Yeah. Don't get in there.
Wreck the city
That
behind.
would look like a new, green firefighter shows up and he's like, let's get in there, guys. And he grabs a hose and the guy goes, we don't do that around here. Holds out his arm and pulls him back.
We do it the traditional way.
So they don't tear down the neighboring buildings, but they do spray them down. They'll set up.
That feels better.
Yeah. It turns out it's a lot less damaging to the neighborhood
Surrounding buildings.
But yeah, they'll set up these gigantic sprinklers essentially that just keep the buildings wet.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's super interesting. I doubt they had that problem at all.
Yeah, showing up in time for flashover.
Yeah. So interesting. That is interesting. I didn't know that really. I mean, I'm glad that they're getting there quickly, but it makes me sad that they had to learn this through the deaths of so many firefighters.
Yeah.
So anyways.
Did you have something, Josh?
No.
Okay.
And so after they gave this kind of ban, there was a short amount of success where there was a dip in the popularity of tattooing. But for a lot of people, it just ended up, making it more cool to get tattoos because it would become popular with these like more fringe kind of like villain or whatever style criminals. But the problem is that I guess the problem for the government was that wasn't an issue for them because a huge reason for getting those tattoos was an intimidation factor. So now it was just even more intimidating for them to get these tattoos. And they continued to add like further bans and further punishments for getting tattoos. And, if you were caught getting a tattoo or giving a tattoo, there was potential fines and criminality and that kind of stuff. And this like ban wasn't actually dropped until the late 1800s. It was like 1872 during the Americans came in. And part of the reason why they wanted to ban these tattoos is they wanted to have a more civilized identity presented to like foreigners. But the other problem with that was when Japanese people would come and the Americans would see all their tattoos, instead of being like, ooh, gross, they're barbarians, they'd be like, oh, sick tattoo, man. And they like really liked them. And so that was sort of the climate towards the end of the 1800s, early 1900s. And that is where we're going to stop today, because next time we're going to get into the Yakuza, which is picking up right in this area. Dun, dun, dun.
I think it's really interesting how over the years tattoos have come in and out of favor. Like there's this constant shift.
Yeah.
Because I can remember like right now, the company that I work for, if you look at their marketing and stuff, they have tattooed people in the marketing stuff.
Really?
Yeah. But when I started there 17 years ago...
Oh my gosh, you're so old.
He was like, it was the Edo period when I started.
I got what you were talking about, Grandpa.
Yeah. What?
I'm going to wager that they didn't even allow tattoos.
They didn't. So the policy of the company was that if you were... So I work in healthcare. If you were somewhere where you could come in contact with patients, that you had to have your tattoos covered. And so, like, I had coworkers who had visible tattoos, and so if they were going to go out somewhere where patients would see them, they'd like put a big Band-Aid over it.
Really?
or wear a jacket with sleeves or whatever they needed to do.
It's like July and they've got a scarf on.
Yeah. Well, scarves, no.
Oh, that's illegal too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can't wear that in those areas either.
Because you can get germs on them.
Yeah,
Scarf is just the dish rag of the neck.
truly.
Really?
We're gonna get that tattooed.
So as a teacher, it's not illegal from what I understand, but it is super frowned upon for us to have tattoos, but mostly by parents. And it's a small population of them, but they get real loud about how they're like, I don't want this tattooed hoodlum to be teaching my kid about math or whatever. And
I think two of our kids' teachers this year have tattoos.
are they younger?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think the newer generation of teachers are more tattooed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Angelique definitely has. She has a coworker who's pretty, like, not.
Tatted
I wouldn't
up.
say heavily tattooed, but she's got a few, and she's interested in more. And
Yeah.
but that's okay, right? Like, healthcare has gone from you need to hide your tattoos to
It's in
let's
our
put
marketing.
you on the face of the company. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah, I think it's really interesting also that, like, as I did this research, I feel like I was so ignorant on so much about tattoos with Japan, because my understanding was like tattoos equal bad in Japan, because like you shouldn't have them in bathhouses, like you shouldn't have them revealed, like that's the mentality right now is, you know, tattoos are not, you shouldn't be showing them, and there's a lot of people that get a lot of stigma and kind of hate for having tattoos still. And I think part of that is because they're very associated with the Yakuza currently. But throughout history, they were so important to so many different, like, cultures and jobs and, like, class sections and that kind of stuff, that, like, I feel a very small portion of tattooing was actually for punishment. And most of it was, you know, traditional. It was for your vocation. It was, you know, you saying your, what is it, like a statement of love or passion or luck or whatever, you know. So it's like a very interesting, complex thing that I really didn't have a good handle on. So I'm really excited because I haven't finished the research for the Yakuza portion, but I'm really excited to understand that even better, because I feel like it's so much more applicable because it's modern.
Yeah. What's interesting to me is how the government tried to control the population, like through repeatedly, like, tattoos are bad. Well, now we're using tattoos as punishment. No, never mind. No tattoos. Like,
Yeah.
or no, we're allowing, but for lower class people, like, they just couldn't get a handle on it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's really hard to litigate, to, I don't know, legislate maybe that type of, like, grassroots type behavior, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting.
I think it would have been great if during the portion where tattoos were illegal, if there was a tattoo that they used to indicate you got tattoos.
That would be good.
Yeah.
They just,
Your
what it was
punishment for having tattoos.
you had a tattoo and then they would draw a big circle with a line through it around that tattoo. No, my beautiful tattoo. Or if it was a face of your lover, they would put a mustache on it.
Or glasses.
Yeah, they defaced the tattoo.
That would make it smarter looking.
Yeah.
Good point.
Darn it. And then the whole cycle begins again.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyways, thanks guys. Thanks for coming on that. Join us next time for the exciting conclusion. Probably. Definitely probably.
Definitely, probably.
And that's it. So go do some art. Tattoo's not a crime, so you can go get some tattooed art on you if you want.
Make sure it's legally okay.
Yeah, like don't get it from some back alley.
Well, and we're not condoning minors to go get tattoos.
No.
Listen, if you're one of Kelly's students,
Don't
get a tattoo.
get a tattoo.
Anyway.
So yeah, go do some art. Don't do some crime.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.
There's a lot of beaches around here, so
Yeah.
it's a safe assumption.
Oh man, Utah is so gnarly.
We do get longboarders, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're the surfers of the streets, man.
You do that accent maybe too well.
That was really good.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, puka shells appear on his neck. He's entering his final form.
My secret's out. Oh no.
This is who you've always been.
There was a period where I had a puka shell necklace.
I know.
I remember.
Yeah. I think there was a period where we all had a puka shell necklace.
I never had a puka shell necklace.
You were never cool.
I never was.
You were never trying to be cool.
Yeah.
Oh no, I tried. I just failed. The shoes might continue to fit unless you
Yeah.
get arthritis in your feet.
Which I won't.
We'll see. You just jinxed yourself so hard.
You
Didn't
said
do
we'll
it.
see. Come on. Like, why not have a little belief? My gosh.
I don't believe in any joints. Anyway. But your
Put that on a
pants.
shirt.
Welcome, listeners. You tune in the podcast in the morning with your BJ and the Wombat. What was the name that we decided on? The Spurge.
I didn't want you to remember. Shahalud.
So close.
His name is the Shah of Halud.
Shai Halud.
Shahalud?
Yeah. Lisa Nakaib.
Yeah.